Hello, my friend, and welcome to Wisdom Trek. I am Guthrie Chamberlain, your guide to wisdom and creating a living legacy. Thank you for joining us for our 5-day-per-week wisdom and legacy building podcast. This is day 743 of our trek, and it is time for our Philosophy Friday series. Each Friday, we will ponder some of the basic truths and mysteries of life and how they can impact us in creating our living legacy. As we continue on this trek called life, sometimes we have questions about life. So our Friday's trek is a time where we can Ask Gramps. Gramps will answer your questions that you would like to ask your dad or granddad, but for whatever reasons, this is not possible. No matter how old you are, I know that all of us would like the opportunity to go back and ask Dad or Gramps questions about life in many areas. We will address areas such as finances, relationships, health and fitness, business and work, home repairs and renovations, seasons of life, spiritual and biblical questions, and any other areas that come our way. As your fellow sojourner and mentor on this trek that we call life, it is my goal to provide you with practical wisdom and advice about any area of life. It is crucial that I receive a constant flow of questions, so please submit your questions to Guthrie@wisdom-trek.com or send me a comment at the bottom of any page at wisdom-trek.com or text me at 740-350-5732 and I will answer your questions on our Friday podcast. We are broadcasting from our studios at the Big House in Marietta, Ohio. As we now enter this holiday season of Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's, many people, especially in Western countries, will be faced with the choices on how much they should spend on gifts for family and friends. Most of us are tempted to spend more than we really should. The unfortunate reality is that many people will also make these purchases on credit cards when they have no plan or idea how they will afford these same purchases when those bills are due. So the question for today is, hey Gramps, is it wise to use credit cards, or do you advise not using them at all? So today let's look at the wisdom of credit cards. This is the tough questions because there are no clear-cut answers. Some financial advisors, such as Dave Ramsey, teaches that you should never use credit cards, and I understand why he teaches that. Many people do not have the financial discipline to use them prudently or effectively. So my answer is, it depends. If you know and understand that you're not disciplined financially, I would strongly suggest not using credit cards at all. They are too easy to get trapped into a never-ending cycle of mounting debt that will shackle you into the prison of financial bondage and limit the choices that you can make. When you are shackled financially, you will not be able to take advantages of wise choices or investments. You will be ever chained to a life of mediocrity with limited plans to free yourself. You will become a slave to the lender, in this case, the loan sharks, which we nicely refer to as credit card companies. Uncontrolled credit card debt has destroyed marriages, uprooted families, and has caused untold misery to millions of people. As we are told in Proverbs chapter 22, verse 7, just as the rich rule over the poor, so the borrower is a servant to the lender. The sad part of this situation is that most credit card purchases are for things that we don't really need to impress people that we don't really like. When you are on a tight budget, it is nearly impossible to climb out of the abyss of credit card debt unless you are fully committed to making the sacrifices that are needed. With that being said, you probably think that Gramps is completely against the use of credit cards, but that is just not true. In fact, using credit cards prudently and wisely can actually make you money. You might be thinking, Gramps, that's not possible. Let me share you how Granny and I have used credit cards over several decades and have literally made thousands of dollars in doing so. We currently have 2 active businesses, so we have 3 credit cards that we use on a regular basis. 1 card for purchases in each of the businesses and 1 for personal purchases. Let me share with you now 4 uncompromising rules for wise use of credit cards. First, never use a credit card that charges you an annual fee just to have it, such as American Express. There is no logical reason to pay for a credit card just to be a member. It is usually to build a person's ego, and there is no room for ego with finances. Secondly, only use credit cards that pay you a cashback bonus for every dollar that you spend using that credit card. These cashback bonuses can range anywhere from 1 to 3% of your purchases, and sometimes higher for special promotions. Third, never purchase something on a credit card unless you already have the money in the bank to pay for that purchase. Never anticipate that you'll have money when it is due. Too many times you will get overextended or the anticipated income does not arrive on time. And fourth, always pay your credit card bill in full when it is due every single month. No exceptions. Now I have to admit that Granny and I are very frugal and careful with our spending and the money that we earn. So let's assume that you are financially disciplined and are able to comply to the 4 rules that I have mentioned. Here is how Granny and Gramps uses their 3 cards very effectively. Nearly all of our purchases that we make, we put on one of those 3 cards, depending on which business is making the purchase or if it's a personal purchase. This includes office supplies, computer equipment, software, groceries, fuel, personal items, utility bills, medical and dental bills, and any other business or household items. This can add up to several $1,000s per year. Even if you're on a modest budget and you add up all your purchases, it will add up to several $1,000s over a year's time. If you strictly follow those 4 credit card rules, there are 2 ways where you have the potential to earn money instead of paying interest and fees. First, if you have a savings account, which you should, the time between your purchases and when the credit card statement is due can range anywhere from 30 to 45 days. You're going to be earning interest on the money during this time. And secondly, if you put nearly all of your purchases on a credit card, then you are earning 1 to 3% back on those purchases. On a monthly basis, this may not add up to a huge amount, but pennies add up to dollars, and dollars add up to some real substantial money. If you are disciplined enough to follow these rules, let me give you this example. Say you put $20,000 worth of purchases applied to your credit card over a year's time. That will earn you anywhere between $200 and $500 more per year. That's free money. For most credit card users, especially those only making minimum payments, they don't realize that they end up paying several thousands of dollars in interest and fees over a course of a year. Now, if you earn a few $100s instead of spending a few thousand in fees and interest, that can add up to a lot of money over a course of a year. Being debt-free is so liberating. It is a feeling that is really hard to describe. Your choices are so much greater. The financial pressures are so much less. The conflicts in the family are minimized. I have to admit that it is not easy for Granny and Gramps to continually make these financial sacrifices that we have over the course of our years, but it is worth it. We are still very frugal with our money, but it allows us to help others that are in need and to have the resources to play a small part in the furtherance of God's kingdom. For many who find themselves drowning in credit card debt, it is because of their love for money. Even when they don't really have a lot of money, they do crave for it. As we are instructed by the Apostle Paul in 1 Timothy chapter 6, verse 10, "For the love of money is the root of all kinds of evil, and some people, craving money, have wandered from their true faith and have pierced themselves with many sorrows." There are few situations in life that causes so much stress and hardship than what is brought on by living in debt when it is not necessary. You can still have a blessed and enjoyable Christmas and holiday season without going into debt to do so. If you do decide to use credit cards during this time, follow the 4 rules mentioned and you will live free from the shackles of debt. If you have any questions or comments about today's questions and answer, please leave me a comment at wisdom-trek.com or email me at guthrie@wisdom-trek.com. Next week, we will have another questions for Ask Gramps. Gramps will answer any questions that you may have about life and will provide you with practical wisdom about any areas of life. Please submit your questions to Guthrie@wisdom-trek.com, and Gramps will answer them on our Friday podcast with wisdom and philosophy that Gramps has gained over the years of experience and study. I know that you'll find these insights interesting, practical, and profitable for living a rich and satisfying life. Our next trek will be Mindship Monday, where we will help you to live differently by thinking differently. So encourage your friends and family to join us, and then come along with us on Monday for another day of Wisdom Trek, creating a legacy. If you'd like to listen to any of our past 742 daily treks or read the associated journals, they are all available at wisdom-trek.com. You can also subscribe to iTunes or Google Play so that each day's trek will be downloaded to you automatically. And thank you so much for allowing me to be your guide, your mentor, but most importantly, I am your friend as I serve you through the Wisdom Trek podcast and journal. And as we take this trek of life together, let us always live abundantly, love unconditionally, listen intentionally, learn continuously, lend to others generously, lead with integrity, and then leave a living legacy each day. I am Guthrie Chamberlain, reminding you to keep moving forward, enjoy your journey, and then create a great day every day. See you on Monday.